Hi, everybody.
What's up, party people? Episode 7, Addiction and Recovery Talk. I'm Derek, and this is Virginia.
Hello, everybody, and to our audience, whoever you are, you know that we discuss addiction and recovery, how it's been a part of our lives, how we're in recovery now, but we have had a very let's say we've had very dark times in our life when we weren't in recovery. And one of the things we were talking about, what we wanted to talk about, because we're going to start having some guests on the show, as well as probably starting a podcast. But first thing, hit the subscribe button and comment, please. Let's spread this message, okay? And my audience lots of times are to mothers with children that they may feel have a drug problem or addiction. But today we're going to talk about a little bit about relapse and what exactly is a relapse. Like, is basically
Going back to the source of the problem.
Yeah, like some of us are struggling, and if anybody can relate to this, you get clean and then you want to stay clean, but you don't understand why you keep going back. And one of the things that I've learned is sometimes if you don't have enough pain in your life and you don't hit rock bottom, and I'm going to talk about my rock bottom, you talk about your rock bottom,
Right.
okay? And I'm going to let Derek talk about his absolute rock bottom. Like, what was it, Derek, that took you to the place that said, this is enough? Like, what did you feel like? What was your environment? What happened mentally?
Okay, well, I was starting to spiral out of control, and it was like,
How old were you?
I was 28. Actually tried to get clean January 2nd of 1994. I didn't get and stay clean until November 5th of that year. But that year, I went into that year, like New Year's Eve, me and my buddy, I went to his house. I was supposed to go meet a bunch of people at this like club, whatever. So I bought some cocaine, crack, whatever you want. Well, I said like, whatever. Bought some coke, and I was gonna go to the bar, party, and then after partying, drinking, bringing in the New Year, I was gonna go do my coke, whoever, whatever. I stopped at my buddy's house to do a little something before I went, and got what we call stuck. So now I'm at his house for hours, and we brought the New Year in, just me and him in his studio apartment, smoking crack. Just me and him. Like I didn't go out and try to get with women and dance and drink and have a good time. And I got to the point where the drug was just taking over and it was making decisions for me. And I felt this big. So I remember feeling like, man, I'm not enjoying this no more. This is taking over. And I tried to get clean, and it was just a tough year. And then the rock bottom for me was I did a lot of dirt in Asbury Park. And I robbed somebody that was kind of popular or whatever. So I was like being shunned by everybody at this crack hotel.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
You were being shunned by
at a crack hotel. It was crazy. And, I remember this girl said to me, they didn't like me being around no more. A lot of it was they were afraid of me because I was just wild and I would take people's shit, whatever. And she said, Derek, and I was to the point where, I worked at the post office and I would blow my money in a day or two after I got paid.
Wow.
But when you know how it is when you're getting high, if you get a vehicle, you can hustle up. I stole a lot, whatever. So that particular day, I was giving people rides so I can get a couple hours for gas. I was getting high here and there. And I got a $10 bag of crack. And this girl said to me, you opened that bag up like a savage. I was like, I did. And she was like, yeah. She's like, why don't you just go home? I said, all right, I'm going to do this hit. I'm going to hand it to you and I'm out of here. And that's what I did. I took a hit. I handed her the pipe and I left. Went to the phone booth. Remember, that's how long ago it was. Called my mom because what happened was I had lost my apartment, but my parents let me stay at their house. But it was stipulations. And I was supposed to get my paycheck and come home, but I got my paycheck and was on a run. So it was like 3 days later. I was supposed to come home. I got paid on a Friday, so now it's Sunday. I've been smoking since Friday. So it's like late. It's like late, man.
And you went through your whole check.
Yeah, it was gone. So I called my mom, like collect, like 1 or 2 in the morning. And she just said, just come home. You know what I mean? I was like, all right. I go to my truck to start it up, and it wouldn't start because I used to run out of gas all the time because I was scared to put gas in the car because you know how it is. I want to use all my money for drugs. So I would just put a couple dollars in at a time. I couldn't make it. I had to call her back and ask her to come get me. And so my mother came and got me like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I told her, I was in Asbury Park. I says, I'll meet you on the highway. Memorial Drive is the highway. I says, because I got to get out of Asbury. I'll be walking. By the time you get here or get close, I'll be on the highway. And she came, picked me up. And it was crazy because my mother was shaking her head and she was like basically like, why, son? And I was just like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know. And I went home with her, and after that was Sunday night. Then Monday happened, and then I had to talk with my parents. I was telling them I want to stop. I want to get some help. So they basically took me to the doctor. I got whatever, checked out, whatever. And then Monday going into Tuesday, the police came to my parents' house like 2 in the morning to arrest me.
All this chaos.
And so I thought about jumping out a window because my mother knocked on my door and said, the police are here. And I just said, you know what, I can't do that. And I just faced it, and I was defeated. Went with the police, they arrested me. I just told them my whole story. I just said, this is what's going on. I'm on drugs, it's out of control. I'm smoking crack, I'm doing this. You know, I committed a crime at this Seaview Square Mall. I tried to steal a set of like tools because I was gonna sell it to this mechanic. And this one security guard kept chasing me, and I like knocked all these people out to get out of the store. And you know, it was like I jumped in my car. And this one security guard kept chasing me, and he was giving the description to the police as I was driving away. I got away that day, but they got my license plates. I didn't know if they did or not. So they came to get me that night because they had got my license plates. And I went to jail, and I just told them the truth. And so what happened was, since I was being so honest, the cops said, we're going to tell the judge, you know, you were cooperating, blah, 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 and you can give us a hard time. You got a problem. So the judge said, you got good news. Your bail's going to be $500. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I called my parents up because I'm an only child. They always got me out, man. I've been arrested, I don't know how many times, probably at least 20 sometimes. Always got right out. And my parents was, you know, I mean, I never really made it to the county. And one time I did, I got out like right away. So I called, talked to my dad, told him the deal. I'm acting like I'm doing him a favor. Yeah, but good news, Dad. Bail's only $500. He was like, oh yeah, well, at least we'll know where you're gonna be at. And he hung up on me. And the cop was like, what's up? Pissed off. I was like, yeah. He said, you gonna call somebody else? I was like, nope. Just take me to jail. And I went to Monmouth County. I did 8 days there and all
8 days.
I did 8 days. I was pissed off the whole time. I wanted to get out so I can get high. Like the first 3 days. Called my mom, promising her the world. Just get me out. By the 4th day, I was in there. This guy who did not know me, because in that jail, it's like you're on a pod, but it's like 2 men to each cell. And I'm in the cell with this dude, and he came in to visit that guy. They were talking, but this dude was hilarious. And I was not laughing, joking. I was pissed. And I walked around with a scowl on my face. I wanted nobody to talk to me. I was pissed. This guy was so hilarious. I started laughing. It's like by the 4th day, you know? And then once he saw that I was laughing, he was like, yo, what's up, man? I was like, hey, man. He said, what are you in here for? So I started telling him about what I did. He was like, no. He said, it's some drugs, isn't it? And I was like, what? He said, it's some drugs. And I was just like, wow, this dude didn't even know me. And that was a wake-up call. And I remember just staring out and saying, man, because going back to George Boss, he went to rehab. He had 3 years clean. I says, man, I get out. Man, I'm going to rehab, man. Like, how did I get here? I wasn't raised like this, man. I wasn't like, you know, I was raised in the hood, but my parents got me out of there when I was 13, and I guess the hood was already in me, but you know, I lived in Brielle, New Jersey. I mean, come on,
like, beautiful home.
Yeah, I mean, they went to Brielle, bought the land, cleared it out, and built the house. And I, as a kid, 13 years old, we went there every weekend and watched the progression of that house being built. So my parents worked hard. I was only a child. I mean, I wasn't hurting for anything, and I was just like, man, I gotta do something different. And that was my rock bottom. And I was just like, I gotta get out of this, because it wasn't fun no more. It was not happening. I felt like crap about myself, and I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be like that no more, you know?
Wow, that's something. And one thing I want to make a point of, even though we talk about some very dark things, like I remember when I met Derek and he had told me this story, and he said, you know, when I realized I was in this jail cell, my freedom was taken away. My freedom.
That's the worst.
You know, and
can't go nowhere. The food's crap.
And then at the end of the day, you're looking at the world to blame, but you know it's about you. And he finally said, I had enough. And you made the decision, not the courts, not your mom, but you said, I am ready. Because that's a key point I want to point out, that anyone that's struggling in a relationship, if you're enabling them, like his parents, when he called for bail, they said no. And they had the money, they let him sit there. And that was probably the most loving thing they ever did for him.
Yeah, it made me think they're not putting up with this no more. Like that safety net, it's gone, bro. You want to play games? You want to pay the price? You want to, you know what I mean? Remember that show, Beretta? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And I was like, man, I don't want to do time. That's not my ideal of. And you know what cracks me up about being in jail? There's a lot of people act like they're having fun there. It was no, you know what I mean? They're okay with being there, and they're institutionalized and all that. I was like, it's not going to be me.
Not that, you know, and I want to point out that, you know, today, you know, Derek is a business owner, and he's a successful operating engineer, and raised his girls on his own because he got clean. My story with relapse is a little different, because when I first went to rehab in my early 20s, okay, I never looked like the typical drug addict. Okay, we have a stereotype, and I want to talk about that. Like needle in the arm in the alley, or someone that's all disheveled and looks. No, I had my Gucci bag. My hair looked good. On the outside, my appearance was, and I was married to a star athlete, and that was in the pros. So on the outside, I looked like my life was all together. But on the inside, I was alone. I was lonely. I was in a dark place, and I was miserable, okay? And, one thing that I didn't learn, because I wasn't a first-time winner. Like, my first rehab, I didn't get clean and stayed clean up until this moment, okay? One of the things that I learned as time went on, because during rehab, I wasn't really working. I wouldn't allow people to help me, okay? I wanted to tell help how to help me. I wanted to run this. So I went out of there with the attitude that I can still drink alcohol, but I was off the pills. I was off the pills, and so I never grasped really the real issue and understanding that addiction was a disease. It's a disease, okay? And the medical association actually categorize it as a disease, okay?
Yes. Disease of addiction.
Disease of addiction. And so, one of the things, if anybody can identify out there, because we like to try to educate and inform, just because if you're one of these people and you're running around, and I say it's an oxymoron to be a functional addict. We say functional addict, but it's an oxymoron because there's no such thing. Because if you're dependent on a drug to live, it doesn't matter that you're doing the actions in life to look like you're okay. You're not functioning. So, functioning alcoholic, we've heard those terms.
Know why they say that? Because some people have the ability to go to work and still
Yes.
maintain a job, and,
Yes.
but still be hooked on
Yes.
alcohol or drugs. And so, like, I was that addict. I went to work, but I was unraveling. I mean, they knew I had a problem. I couldn't hide it anymore.
Oh, we try to hide it from everybody. We think that we are masters of disguise, okay? We're fooling everybody, and you're not. You're not.
The disease gets worse and worse and worse. It's like a monster. The more you feed it, the worse, the bigger it gets.
I want to talk about one of my darkest moments where I realized that I need help. When I first got clean, that I never truly got clean, by the way. I got clean from drugs, but I truly never, any mood altering substance, if you are an addict, okay, understand that any mood altering substance is not for you. Like, you can't have it. You just can't. And I promise you that it's going to lead you back to your drug of choice. It will, or worse. For example, I prided myself on, I only snorted cocaine when I was in addiction. That's all I did. I snorted. I was like sophisticated. I hung out with the sophisticated crowd. I was with all the lawyers and the doctors and the professionals, and I wasn't really an addict. How could I be? Look at my environment, But let me tell you something that happened that's scary when you're on that path. I ran out of coke one night, and I'm on a mission, because when you go on a mission, you're on a mission. When you want that next hit, you're on a mission, okay? And nothing matters, okay, except getting that next hit. I went to some people in my condo association that, I knew. I'm looking for, and it was, I ended up finding this like scummy guy that was visiting his aunt or something. And I was like, I'm trying to buy some powder. And he's like, I don't, he's like, I don't have powder, but I have rock. And I was like, I don't smoke. And he's like, just try it. He's like, you might like it. And I was like, nah, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to be a crackhead. So I tried it. And from that moment on, Derek's laughing. He's great because he knows after that first hit, I was off to the races. And, if you're around people that offer you that and they're, not loving enough, they're not your friends. Okay? So this guy just loved it. I was just like, oh, I want some more of that. Within 6 months, I lost like a $40,000 Tahoe that I had worked for. I had a beautiful home that I bought on my own. I was a professional, and that one hit led me to living in the projects with this guy, okay, that I didn't even really like, had no job, no source of income, And I was just with him merely because he was a drug dealer and he provided drugs for me. That's how low my bottom got. Like, I didn't even contact my family because I was so ashamed of what I had become. And, you know, this college educated woman who, you know, just started out doing some lines of coke and a couple of pills. And it led me, because of the addiction, because I have that illness, okay? Because of it, it led me to what I call, everybody categorizes certain drugs. Like right now, fentanyl is like the drug of death. But I mean, crack is one of the most addictive substances out there. Okay, and saying that, do not think just because you're taking pills or you're smoking a lot of weed that you're not as bad. And so that was so demeaning, and it took me 2 years to get out of that situation. I mean, I was living in a house that I wouldn't even visit, okay? And I was running with these people, and every day our life was about getting high. It was about getting high, getting more drugs, getting high. Just, you know, you would stop for a few days. And I remember one time, the guy that I was staying with, he was like, they call it cooking the crack or whatever. They were cooking it, I believe, and I was sitting there waiting for some, and he said, just wait, it's not ready yet. And I wouldn't listen, okay? So when they turned their backs, I went and grabbed like the piece, because of course I just couldn't wait. And I went in the bathroom and I took a hit, and let me tell you, my ears started ringing and everything just went black, okay? And I evidently just crashed down on the floor, and next thing you know, they've got me in the bathtub, you know, with, you know, pouring cold water over me. And I truly believe that God had mercy on me, because I believe I almost died that night, okay? And that still wasn't enough. That moment still wasn't enough. I remember just looking around one day, like Derek said, and I was like, this is not me. This is not me. Like, I was miserable. I was depressed. I had no real friends. And I was ashamed of who I was. So I was like, this is enough. You know, I went and got some help. And the thing I want to hit home is that we made the decision. We made the decision. Nobody made it for us. We like, some people have to go through enough pain. Some people have to go through getting arrested, losing their home. These are all things that I always said, never say never, because I said I would never do crack. He said I would never go to jail, you know, and never say never. Because when you're using drugs, I promise you, your nevers will come true, okay? So I got myself together, and I bought a ticket and went back to New Jersey where my family was. And, you know, I got clean for a good while again. And I had my daughter. I was trying to raise her. And by that time, I had another child, so that's another story. So I'm trying to raise these two girls, and we'll talk about this next episode, because there's a difference between just stop using drugs and not truly being in recovery. Like, there are aspects of yourself that you have to work on, and I wasn't working on myself. I just stopped using, and that was the reason why I was a chronic relapser. I would get clean for years. I would get myself together, build everything back up, but somehow I would go back to using because I did not work on myself. I didn't work on the inner part, the issues, the emotions, why I was using. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit next episode.
Yeah.
We just wanted to, you know, just give you a little bit of our story about, we're successful people today, and we do well, but that's where drugs took us. That's why we do this episode. This is why we serve the public, because we know what some of you are going through. We know.
And in our program, in our literature, it says relapse can be a jarring experience to help you work a more vigorous program.
Yes.
See, for me, you can always start all over again, because as long as you're breathing, you have an opportunity to work this program.
Yes.
And it's one day at a time, and you can fall off, you can stop coming, you can come back, you can stay, whatever you want to do. You come and go as freely as you want. But my thing is about discipline and a way of life, self-confidence. I've learned how I built myself up by living this program and then building other things into my life to become the best version of myself and to give back, to realize that I have a higher power who I choose to call God, that I kneel down to, and I'm humble to show that I'm grateful for this opportunity, because I could be still in the streets, I could be locked up for life, because I took a lot of chances out there. It gave me grace, it gave me mercy, and so I got so much drive and ambition, the things I want to do, and I still feel like I'm young, man. I still feel like I got a lot of things I can accomplish, and this is one of the things I want to do, is always stay locked into the program that I'm in, of men and women who help each other stay clean on a regular basis, who meet regularly, help each other stay clean.
The 12-step program.
The 12-step program, and give back in other areas and do the things that I got potential. He didn't bring me here to be no drug addict. That wasn't the plan, but he's going to use my life, an example for his glory to show. I got a testimony to share. If somebody's watching this and they got a problem, who they going to listen to? Me? Or they going to listen to somebody who got a PhD and said, yeah, I got a degree in addiction, but they never smoked a joint. You know what I mean? I lived this life. I live it to this day. Drugs has been, I had a wife that relapsed, that turned my life around, and the program helped me. And I also realized that I have to work on myself, because I'm not just a drug addict. They don't say, I'm an addict. That means I could be hooked on anything that takes me out of myself. It could be anger, it could be sex, it could be food, it could be gambling, it could be shopping. If I'm not careful, I have to tell them. And one of the things, there's 3 principles that are indispensable. That's what they say. It's not my words. They're indispensable. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With these, I'm well on my way. So I always talk about what's going on with me. That works for me. We all are different. Everybody works differently. Pick out, find your niche in the program. Some people are good at cleaning up. Some people are good at setting up the meetings. Some people are good at speaking. Some people are good at being the chairperson and finding the speakers. Some people are greeters. Some people are good talking to people one-on-one.
But they're all working collectively together. And we always say, we have a saying, there's what is it? There's about one addict helping another.
The therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. Who's going to better understand an addict than another addict? We know, a lot of people, it gets ugly. People prostitute themselves, sell their kids Christmases. I've seen, if I hadn't did it, I've seen it. I used to get a lot of prostitutes myself. There's no shame. The shame is, here's the shame, is needing help and not getting it. Everybody does stuff. Everybody's done stuff. Some people do worse than others, but hey, man, at the end of the day, we're human, man. We do things, we make mistakes, we make bad decisions, man. What are you gonna do?
You can always turn it around. You can always wake up one day and say, I've had enough, and the shame will go away. The chaos will go away. It takes time, but don't give up on yourself. If you feel like you can't do this, I'm telling you, we are telling you, You can.
If you need to go in the room to say, yo, man, I'm having a problem. I'm eating too many cookies. I can't stop cheating on my wife. I can't stop going down the way and getting prostitutes. I can't stop this. I can't stop that. I'm eating too much. I'm gambling. All this stuff is self-destructive behavior that would take you down. You know what I mean? I stopped using drugs a long time ago and had problems with just about everything else. And then I had to get honest, because at some point you start going to meetings, you get cleaned up a little bit, then you don't want people to think you got problems. Now I can't go there and tell them I got a problem. They're gonna think I said a long time ago. I says, I'm in a room full of junkies, addicts, murderers, and prostitutes. I'm not scared of nobody. You guys, you're just as fucked up as I am. That's just the bottom line. We all got some stuff with us. Let's get real. Let's get some help. Let's get better, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's get humble. Because if you don't get humble, what happens? You get humiliated. Because when you don't get no help, and then next thing you know, you lost your job, you losing your house. No, your wife takes your kids. You can't see them. Everybody hates you. I know that feeling when everybody looks at you with this look. You know what I mean? They look at you with disgust, and you know why. And everybody knows you're messing up, except you. You want to keep lying to yourself and thinking you got it under control. And you're losing weight.
Denial.
You don't look right. I mean, come on, man. You're doing something, and it's dragging you down. I mean, like it is what it is. But I love talking about recovery, man. It's a part of me, and I pray to God it always will be. I don't see a reason to ever leave. I do a lot of other things now that helps fulfill my life, and I'm just growing, man. That's what I'm here for. Continue to, keep growing, man. I got some serious goals. Some serious goals.
And we've accomplished a lot too, but one day at a time. Take a deep breath, reach out for help, drop a comment, reach out, just know to hang on, and there's help out there. There is help out there. And we always say, in the 12-step program, come and try it out for 30 days. If you don't like it, we'll refund you your misery.
Oh, they said when I first came around, they said, come try this out, right? And what you do is you save $1 every day. So in the 90 days, you got $90, and we will refund your misery. So after 90 days, you save $1 every day, you got $90. You don't like this, you can go back out. You got $90 to start yourself off, you know what I mean, and go back to the pain and misery of addiction. But it must not have been so good, because you wouldn't have left it if it was so good, you know what I mean? But the disease of addiction is cunning, baffling, and insidious. Yes. And it talks to you in your own voice. And when things are not going right, it'll say, man, this is not working. Or nobody likes you. Or these people think this, they think that. Man, let's go get high. You know what I mean? No, who the last person that said that to me? It was me. If I did, you know what I mean? I was my own worst enemy.
Yes, I always, and we can close with this. I have never found an addict who has successfully found a way to use and have a good life. Like I've tried. I have tried everything to successfully use and just be at peace with myself. But I'm gonna close with that.
Let me say this. And when she says addict, that means an addict. I mean, we're not talking about what we call earthlings. There are some people who can go all week long, and then on Friday night or Saturday night, they go to the club, they could smoke some bones, they could have drinks, and they could put it down and go back to work and back to their lives. Not addicts. We can't do that. We have an allergic reaction.
Yes.
When we use drugs.
We spiral out of control.
Yeah. We have addictive personalities. Some people can, smoke a bone here and there and live a good life, but we're not those people.
Right.
Right. And
if you're an addict, spiral out of control.
There's a pamphlet in our meetings, and it has asked questions. And it says, "I am an addict," and if you say yes in a certain amount of them, I forgot. There's a lot of questions.
We'll talk about that next episode.
All right. I'll bring yeah. And
good.
I think if you answer yes, I think 3 or 4 of them, you're probably an addict.
Yep.
All right. You happy with this?
I am too. We just want to tell you, hang on. We love you. We can just reach one person out there, one person, then we've done our job.
I just want to say one thing.
What were they?
One more. We're here to stay blessed, never ever will rest until our good is better and our better is the best. Woo!